All right, fellas. So, this video might seem a little bit premature, as today I'm going to be talking about my plans as to how I'm going to be busting through my intermediate phases, how I'm going to be busting through where I was back in 2015 once I get back there. I'm planning on being back to where I was by the end of this year. When my newbie gains will run out. I think I would say at least 3 to 6 months left of newbie gains left to do, and then I'll be back to where I was back in 2015, where I was at my peak, where I personally think, an intermediate. Now, how am I going to bust past that once I get back there and advance into my quote unquote advanced stages? How am I going to get past how am I going to get past my peak? Okay, so that is what I've been thinking about, and the way that I've been, and like what I've been thinking about is two approaches. Okay, there are two ways that I've seen a lot of people try to there are two types of programs, I guess I'm trying to say, that people try to do. Okay, the first style, which I've seen a lot of people use very successfully, is block style periodization, where they'd spend like 2 weeks on volume accumulation, another 2 weeks like getting used to heavier weights, and then they'll spend like a week to deload, and then ultimately they'll peak and try to test their 1 rep maxes. Okay, I have actually experimented with one of these type of programs in the past, like in around 2015 or so. It was Candido's 6 week program, and after I ran that program, no disrespect to you, Candido, but I saw no gains. Like my 1 rep max did not go up, and the reason why I think it didn't go up was because I think that those type of programs were too advanced for me. Okay, if you have ever ran Candido's program before, what you'll know is that you'll probably have what you'll notice is that you'll have like 1 or 2 workouts that are extremely intense, and then you don't hit those workouts again for another like 3 to 4 days. I personally feel like after like in those 3 to 4 days like that I don't hit those workouts again, I start to detrain a bit. Okay, and again, that's just my experience. Okay, but there's tons and tons of other people that have ran programs like the Candido program, which is block style periodization, and they've seen tons of gains. Okay, so I personally feel like the Candido program was just a little bit too advanced for me, because like I didn't I felt like well recovered after like the first 2 sessions, probably because the weight was just too light for me at that time. Whereas if I was more advanced and like those weights that I used were heavier, relative to my genetic potential, I would like the recovery time before actually doing those workouts again, I think would probably be a little bit more appropriate, and it would match better to how much fatigue I would have accumulated. Okay, now again, block style periodization has worked for lots and lots of people. That one experimentation that I did led to me having no gains. Okay, so no disrespect to Candido, no disrespect to anybody that does block style periodization. Programs like PH3. I can't name any more off the top of my head. I think PH3 and Candido's 6 week were probably like the most popular. Well, no, PH3 is like the most popular right now. Candido's 6 week program was the most popular back in the day, which was only like 2 years ago. So yeah, that I'm going to move away from that, and I'm going to try the second approach to intermediate programming that I think is going to work better for me. Okay, and the second approach to intermediate programming is more in line with linear progression that you would see for novices, where they would add weight every single workout session. But instead of adding weight every single workout session, you would add it every week. The most iconic example of a program that's run like this, which is meant for intermediates, is the Texas method. Okay, the Texas method is pretty much the more intermediate version of starting strength, and any of the other programs that are based off of starting strength, like StrongLifts 5x5 or the Jason Blaha 5x5 that I personally ran, or hell man, even the Programming to Win novice program, which Izzy, I am running, and I am seeing some serious gains, but I have made some adjustments to it. Please don't kill me. Okay, so with programs like the Texas method, instead of adding weight every single workout session, you would add weight at the end of every single week to your lifts. Okay, and now again, I'm probably going to make some modifications to it. I'm pretty much just gonna do the programming to win intermediate program, and if there's anything that I feel like my gut tells me I should change to try and make it better, I'm probably gonna do it. Okay, so that is what I'm going to lean towards in order to try and bust through my intermediate plateau. I'm going to try the more linear progression style approach to intermediate programming as opposed to block style periodization. Okay. In addition to that, while doing the more linear progressionally styled program where I would be adding weights to the bar every single week, as opposed to building up for like 6 weeks and testing for testing up a new one rep max. I'm probably going to have to increase my training frequency because the amount of volume that I would have to do, I think, in order to advance all in one day would probably be too much. Again, and I don't know this yet, but my gut tells me so. My gut tells me that if I did like instead of doing 5 by 5, end up doing like a 10 by 5 on one day, it would just impede my recovery and there would be no gains. But if I was to like split those two up where I would do Monday like a 5 by 5, and then Tuesday I would do like 3 by 8 or whatever with a lighter weight, it's not going to be as taxing on my nervous system, and it's going to be easier to recover from, so that I can in fact add a little bit of weight onto the bar by the end of the week. Okay, so that's just a quick little insight, my quick little thoughts as to how I'm going to try and bust through my intermediate plateaus once I get back to what I consider to be intermediate level strength. I know that there's lots and lots of ways to define an intermediate, but right now I'm just defining it as I'm just defining it from my own personal experience, which is what I think I used to be before, the dip. I'm out, guys. Peace.